Hello. I am no doubt one of the shadows in your life. One of the people that you don't even begin to wonder if they even have a backstory to their life. You just glance at me for a second and then mind your own business, be it social, work, family, or whatever else there is in this life. But I do indeed have a backstory to myself, and let me just tell you that you have, and probably never will, experience this. I walked out of my apartment with a big smile on my face. I was as happy as a lark. The sun was shining and the garden the landscaper had just put in was absolutely beautiful. The reason I was so happy was because I finally got a date. I finally found a girl that I actually liked, and she liked me back. She said she would meet me at the theater at 2, so I went on my way to the theater. When I met her, she was stunning. She was absolutely beautiful. She had on a red summer dress with little flowers along the bottom of the dress. When she saw me, she twirled as if to say, "What do you think?" And when she twirled, the flowers in the dress seemed to come alive. She really did pop out from the rest of the crowd. We both looked at the list of movies and I decided to get tickets for Marley and Me. When we were outside of the theater, she giggled a bit and said that it was kind of funny that both of us cried so much. I could tell that when we were both holding each other's hand when we walked out of the lobby, we were both in love. Let's fast forward a couple of years. My friend Chris was always a close friend of mine, and I asked him when I should pop the question of marrying her. He asked me how many years we were together, and I said 2 whole years, and that tomorrow, in fact, was our anniversary. He said that tomorrow he was going to give me his car, and he was going to set something up so that it feels special. I took the car and followed the directions Chris told me. I picked up my girlfriend and took her to the park, where Chris said to go to. On the way there, she asked what I got for her. I simply said something very special. Chris was waiting there for us, and he said that he wasn't expecting us here. So we walked, and while she wasn't paying attention, Chris slipped me the box with the ring and winked. When we got to the middle of the park, Chris said to stay put. So we just sat on the bench in front of an island of flowers of every variety. It was peaceful there. She didn't mind it, and neither did I. Chris brought back an amp and a microphone. I asked him what he was going to do with it, but he interrupted me mid-sentence. He put down the amp and flipped it on. He got the audience attention and said that we were together for quite a long time, and that I had something to show her. I got out the ring, and I said that this was her present. And those next 4 words sent her spiraling into a happy lunatic. "Will you marry me?" Yes spouted from her mouth a billion times. The wedding was wonderful. We set up our house in an ordinary neighborhood. We planned to have kids and even put a crib in the baby room until that one night. I got a call from my wife and she said that she'll probably be working late. I said that was okay, just as long as she gets home at a decent time. She said, "Okay, Mom," and we both chuckled a bit. I said I love you and she said the same, and hung up. I didn't know that would be the last time I would be talking to her. At 11, I was playing some Team Fortress 2 when all of a sudden, I heard some footsteps coming from the kitchen. I called out to my wife to see if she was there, but there was no answer. I exited out of the game and went over to the kitchen to see if anyone was in there. Evidently enough, there was no one there. Just as I was about to turn around and go back, I saw a figure out of the corner of my eye. I looked back and I saw my wife in a black dress. I settled down a bit, but something seemed odd about her. For one thing, she just looked directly ahead of her to the door leading outside. Then she started to walk. I noticed that when she walked, her footsteps didn't have any sound. I called out to her again, but she didn't turn her head towards me. I called out once again and asked her where she was going. No reply. Then the strangest thing happened. Just as she was walking to the door, she stopped for a second and walked right through the door. I saw her ghost. I swear to God, I saw something out of place in the world we know about now. I went over there to the door where she walked into, opened it, and I saw nothing. Just the outside, a cool crisp air was hitting my face. I closed the door and went back to my game, regarding all that I saw as a hallucination. Minutes later, I received a call from the hospital. The person on the other line asked if I was the husband to the woman known as my wife. I said yes and asked if she was okay. They replied with the simple 2 words, "She's dead." My heart skipped a beat. I stammered out a "what?" They said again that my wife was dead. The person said she had a heart attack while driving and they found her dead at the wheel, crashed into a pickup truck. Tears welled up in my eyes. I couldn't believe the news at all. It was like I wasn't even experiencing life at all, and that I was just hearing things. They said that they would have some paperwork for me tomorrow and that they were sorry for my loss. I hung up and dropped the phone. I didn't even feel like doing anything at that moment. I just felt like dying. How was the word that came up in my mind the most. By now I was sitting down on my couch, staring into space with tears running down my face. But then the next moment I was standing up and I was facing my wife in the living room. She was still wearing that same black dress. She was staring at me with a look of dread on her face and a hint of sadness. I asked her what she was doing here. She said that she wanted to say goodbye. She started to tear up. I wanted to wipe her tears away, but I couldn't really move my arms. I just shushed gently. I then said that she was the most lovely woman I had in my life and that she'll always be with me. She smiled and she said she'd know she will. I then asked why. Nothing else, just why. She then said, "No one lives forever." She could see that I started to tear up and we both started to cry a bit. Her hand moved towards my face and she wiped my tears away. Her hand felt soft and I just wanted to feel her forever. And then she said, just, "I love you." I said, "I love you too," and she disappeared into the air. I woke up on the couch laying down. I glanced to the spot where I was standing with my wife. She wasn't there. I decided to go to bed and sleep. I woke up the next day and expected to see my wife's beautiful face, but when I looked, she wasn't there. The next day, when I went to the hospital, I heard that they found out that she was pregnant and that the child died along with her. That made it all the more devastating. When I went to the park, I went to the bench in the middle of the park. I sat down and put my arm around where we used to sit. I watched Marley and Me on DVD later that day. It's been a year since then, and every time I walk past the nursery room, I hear the faint giggle of a little girl.
In this little shop of horrors, that's how we get down. Yeah, enter, the project's on the prairie, scary. Greet you at the gate with Bloody Marys. Blood, a rail full of blood. Back to the cemetery, get more blood. Standing on the grave, drinking blood, smoking bones. We seen a crew of ghouls running by with stolen tombstones. With Hell's Angels on the chase, they lust to bust a black skull. Want you embrace, they tie you up in chains and they stomp on your face. They go to purgatory and they beat the fucking case. I look around, mad bodies being buried.